Something very fascinating happens right before you break through into the new timeline, into the new reality, into your higher identity. Something very particular happens, and there's a series of things that happen that I want to address that in this video, specifically that now we are moving into the new earth. If you don't know that the timeline split where the new energy on this planet, and what that means is there are bigger contrasts for a lot of people. There are bigger challenges for a lot of people. The foundation of people has shaken. The way we used to work, we no longer can work. The way we used to be, we can no longer be. And this is why there's so much chaos. This is why people are experiencing huge challenges in this timeline, because the new earth energy is shifting the way human beings operate. So it is a huge opportunity for people who are already awakened, who are already moving into that path. I want you to know what are the steps before you have your biggest breakthrough. What are the things that occur before your breakthrough? So the number one thing that happens, that it feels like you are going backwards. The old emotional wounds, the triggers, the anger, all of that start reappearing. It feels like you have taken 10 steps back. You feel like you've gone back to your older self. And that is scary. That is like, oh my God, I've done so much work. I've done so much healing. I've done so much inner work. Why is this happening? Why am I going backwards? That is not you going backwards. That is exact thing is required for you to embody the new you, the new identity of your being. So you will experience that. You will experience that old emotions coming up, and you're feeling more uncomfortable in your body. You're feeling more angry or resistive, or resentment showing up. Emotions are showing up. Sadness is showing up. All of that is there for you to release what is left off, whatever that was within you energetically. And this is how energy work. You will not be able to move forward if you are not clearing what is holding you back, what is keeping you where you are. Energetics are most powerful thing you can do, because everything is energy. Everything that is happening within you and outside of you, it is all energy. And energetic alignment is required for you to experience your new reality. And this is why anything that is stuck emotion, suppressed feeling, anger, resentment, it starts showing up, because it is ready to leave you, because it is ready to collapse, it's ready to go. So it shows up so that you rebirth into your new identity. And the second weirdest thing that happens, and people don't realize because they don't know what is going on, but this is so important for you to know. So when we ask God, when we ask universe, we want to manifest beautiful life where I am at peace, I am free, I'm doing aligned work, I am with love of my life. Whatever your vision is, whatever your mission is, whatever your idea of being somebody who is impactful, being somebody who is in a loving divine relationship, being somebody who has a beautiful home, regardless of your desire, whatever you desire. Whenever we desire something, we are creating a demand in the universe. And every time we create a demand in the universe by asking God, I want this, I want that, I want happiness, I want joy, I want freedom, anything that is misaligned with that demand needs to go, right? Because universe always says yes. God will never deny your prayers, but you have to rise into to match that energy. And this is why when we create a bigger demand in the universe, we must release, we must let go of anything that is not in a match with that bigger demand. that higher demand that we made, the desire that we express, the desire we deeply want, anything that is misaligned with that, it has to go. And if that means the shame in your body needs to go, if that means the old anger in your body needs to go, if that means you have to really go through the motions of cleansing and healing and clearing, then that needs to happen in order for you to match that frequency of your demand, of your desire. So this is how it works. This is why the reason most people cannot break through, the reason most people cannot manifest, as soon as they experience the challenge, they think, oh, God is not listening to my prayers. God is not with me. I must have done something wrong. They start shaming themselves. They start putting themselves down. They start creating more doubts. And what that does, that takes them on a different path. Because now they forgot about their demand, their desire, what they want to manifest. They move into a different direction of feeling sorry for themselves, feeling sad, feeling depressed, feeling less worthy, not enough, feeling like God is not supporting them, like nobody is with them, all of that. So that creates a complete different loop, right? They moved away from what they said they want, right? So that's why people cannot break through. That's why people cannot have what they desire, because they give up. They give up on their own desires. So when we give up on our own desire, universe says, okay, sure, yes. Because God will never say no to you. There's no judgment. You will get what you are in alignment with. So this is why whenever we create a bigger demand, we must be able to release anything that is not in match with that demand. So let me give you an example. Someone who wants happiness and joy and ease and peace, right? So they're desiring, that's their demand. I want ease, peace, joy. That's my demand. I want that, right? So now that they want that, but their emotion, their energy is sad, they are in sadness, right? So God will push them to release all the things that they are sad about. So they may experience more challenge. They may experience more situations to release that sadness, to become more stronger, to become more resilient, to become more grateful. That's what I call the process of refinement that they have to go through in order to find more gratitude. Because guess what? The joy is not present in sadness. Peace is not present in chaos. So they have to let go of all those emotions, all those energies, all those past stories, limitation that keeps them sad, that keeps them feeling like a victim, that keeps them feeling like that they're not enough, they're not worthy. They must release that in order to match the joy, in order to match the peace. So that's the process of refinement we have to go through in order to become a match to our desire. And this is why the deeper work is important, because it's not the surface, it's the deeper thing that we need to let go, the root of the issues, in order to become in alignment with what we want. And some people may say, oh, it's so hard work. It is hard work, right? It is hard work, but it's also hard to live in the same limitation. It is also hard to keep living in that sadness. It is also hard to keep living in toxic environment. It is also hard. So we have to choose our hard. What do we want? Do we want to remain where we are, where we hate, dislike, resent, or we want to move into the place where there's peace, there's a light, there's ease, there's love, there's freedom, there is abundance. Which heart do we want to choose? I would always choose alignment. I would always choose peace. I would always choose joy and abundance, because I'd rather move through the process. I'd rather take those challenging moments in order to go into the next level rather than staying stuck in the same place. So I'd rather go through that refinement process so that I actually move into that energy and frequency of my desired reality. That's really key. And through my past experiences, I had to go through deep refinement process, a lot of refinement process. And the reason it took me a while because I kept going back. I kept going back. I did not have the awareness. I did not have the knowledge. I did not have the wisdom. I did not have the method that I do with my clients, the healing process of breaking illusion, taking them through breakthrough processes. I did not have that. So I kept going back to the same thing over and over, and I kept creating the same loop over and over, not knowing that I'm actually refining, but actually I kept choosing the darkness because it was familiar, it was known. So I kept choosing that. I kept choosing toxicity. I kept ignoring my intuition because what was familiar felt safer, and even though it was painful. And that's where most people get stuck, because they think at least even though I'm in pain, but it's a familiar pain. But truly, people who master, people who actually become the alchemists, people who actually become the leaders, who are refined into that grandest version of themselves, they are willing to move through the refinement process. They are willing to go through those steps in order to become who they are. Because I don't know about you, but for me, ultimately, by the end of my life, I want to find that peace of that comfort that actually I did everything that I needed to do. I did everything that I meant to do, so that at least I had an eventful life where I was moving, I was shifting, I was embodying, I was shifting new identities, I was experiencing new things. I rather have that by the end of my life than living with the regret that I didn't do anything, right? So that's the second thing. The third thing is the contrast is huge before your breakthrough. The contrast even gets heightened, bigger, brighter, vivid, that you will be like, what the hell is going on? When I say contrast, what I mean is something that you do not want. So anything that we do not want is a contrast to what we want. So I call it a contrast. So it's a contrasting experience. So let's say I want peace, but I'm experiencing deep chaos, all the turmoil, all the drama of life, right? That is a contrasting experience to the peace that I desire. So before breakthrough, that becomes heightened, that becomes bigger. And the only reason it becomes bigger, because again, energetically, there's something within you that is still a match to that. So that bigger contrast occurs so that you can permanently release it, so that you can permanently shift it, so that you become more strong and resilient in your desire. Because one thing that happens, people doubt their own desire. People have so many doubts and fear that they will doubt what they want. And that's why they keep looping in the same thing over and over. So, but when you are near your breakthrough, when you're done playing small, when you're done playing the same thing over and over, there will be a point where you're like, I'm done. I am going to do this. I'm going to choose higher me. I am going to choose abundance. I'm going to choose ease and peace. That's when you experience the bigger contrast, so that you can permanently release what is in the way. The fourth thing is that deep inner knowing, even in the contrast, even when your reality doesn't look like what you desire, you have that inner knowing that I am going to get there. I am going to get to a place that I desire. I'm going to move to a country that I want to go. I am going to have the abundance that I desire, the wealth I desire, the success I desire. I'm going to find that love, or that love will find me. I'm going to meet my divine soulmate. It is going to happen. That inner knowing is strong. The faith becomes stronger, so strong. So even though nothing in your life may look like you're going to have that, but the deep inner knowing is there. The faith is stronger. And that is also part of the process. God wants you to have a stronger faith. The stronger faith is required for you to experience the desire, because it is unseen. It's something you created a demand for. You don't have that in your life, right? People who come from a lot of chaos, a lot of emotional instability, a lot of drama, a lot of challenge, they haven't experienced peace, they haven't experienced joy, they haven't experienced wealth and abundance. They are demanding something they haven't experienced. So what does that require? That requires a bigger refinement process. That requires shifting on all the conditioning, limitation, beliefs that are stopping you to get there. And this is why the faith is required, because faith is what? Faith is believing in something that is unseen, right? People who have stronger faith, they believe what they desire will happen. And that belief is the one that becomes that bridge for them to cross. That bridge for them to cross, because without that, they cannot cross it. They have to have faith in what they want. Without faith, you cannot have it. So, this is why that deeper inner knowing that comes, even though the life doesn't look like what I want, but I know it is coming through. It is going to happen. And that inner knowing is a huge sign that you're about to break through into the new reality. And all of those things happen because you are ready. You are ready to move into the new timeline. You are ready to experience what you've been praying for. And that's why you have that deeper knowing, that even though I don't see it, but I so believe it. I so deeply believe it that it is here. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. And that's when it shows up. The last thing that happens before your breakthrough is that the final test. The final test is, it's very interesting, it's fascinating, that right before your breakthrough, your old reality becomes louder. Things that you said you don't want, things you said is misaligned. So, for example, opportunities that you said no to, something similar will reappear. Or a person who you said no to, or somebody like them come back. So let's say you want divine, loving, supportive relationship, but you've gone through a lot of toxic relationships and darkness. So suddenly a person will appear with the same energy of that toxicity, that manipulative energy, and they show up. When that person appears, that is a test whether you would settle for that, or whether you would take the leap of what you said you want. So if you said, I want divine partner, I want somebody who's supportive, who's safe, who is emotionally safe, I want that type of partnership, but you find this person who is love bombing you, who is intense, who has similar traits as your past partners, then that is another test. Because then if you start questioning, oh, they are showing me love, maybe they are, even though you know, your intuition knows all the signs, all the red flags are showing, but you are like, okay, maybe, right? So that is a test for you to choose to go back to that, or you go take the leap and say no to that. Because when you say no to that, that means you are fully ready for your aligned partner. You are ready to meet them, right? So that is a final test. And in terms of the business, or in terms of the money or abundance, again, opportunity. So if you said no to 9-to-5 jobs, suddenly you are getting opportunities left, right, and center for 9-to-5 jobs. You decide that you want to run a business and you want to move into that reality, but suddenly really great 9-to-5 opportunity shows up. That is a test whether you go back or whether you embody the higher you, whether you move into that identity of entrepreneur or going back to that employee version of you. So that's a test. So people who go back, and a lot of people go back because they get scared, they feel fear, or they feel, oh my God, I'm going through so many challenges, I might just accept what is coming because maybe this is all I deserve. This is what I have to settle for because this is what I deserve. So they miss the boat. They don't go for that business, or they don't go for that divine partner. They go into that relationship or that opportunity, and then they get stuck. They start relearning the same thing. So the same loop starts again because they haven't taken the leap. The leap is unknown. So you choose, you want to go back to the known, or you want to take the leap towards unknown. And those who take the leap towards the unknown, those are the ones who experience the breakthrough. Those are the ones who refine themselves to the version of themselves that is experiencing love, joy, abundance, peace, ease, freedom. Those are the ones. So, really knowing that this final test is so key of you knowing, are you going to conform? Are you going to go small, or are you going to expand? Are you going to settle, or are you going to say no? Because you have the choice, you have the free will. God always has given you free will. This is why. But most people do not know the power of their being. So they settle, they conform, they go small, and then they repeat the same loop all over again. So you have to make a decision. Who are you? Who do you want to become? And if the answer is you want to take the leap, then this is a great time to take the leap. The energy shifts are huge. The earth is shifting powerfully. This is the best time to take the leap. And if you want me to support you in your leap so that you move into that identity by releasing anything that is in the way, to move into that wealth, abundance, ease, freedom, to really embody the higher version of you with that certainty, with that conviction, with that power, so that you have that financial freedom, so that you have that income, so that you have that joy and peace, then you can click the link below to apply for my mentoring, where I take you through powerful processes that will give you incredible breakthroughs. And if you are ready for that, click the link below to apply for my mentoring. Other than that, like this video if you like this video, and subscribe to my channel. And may the light in me reaches the light in you.